Okay, so the last video kind of got cut off with our sexual motivation. So I'm going to wrap it up here with video 5, which talks about teen pregnancy and sexual orientation. So, adolescent sexuality and motivation. When individuals reach adolescence, their sexual behavior begins to develop. However, there's actually been a shift in some cultural differences. They surveyed girls before the 1900s and reported 3% of them had sexual intercourse before the age of 18. Flash forward 100 years later, girls surveyed in 2005 reported that 47% of high school students had sexual intercourse. And we do know the impact of surveys. Surveys don't always tell the truth. It would be interesting to see in an anonymous survey how many students actually have sexual intercourse at the high school level today. Sexual intercourse in modern Western culture is much greater, also culturally, than Arab countries and other Asian countries. Sex during teenage years can lead to unprotected sex, leading to risks of pregnancy and sexually transmitted infections, also known as sexually transmitted diseases, which you've probably gotten exposure to in health. Teen pregnancy. American teens have lower rates of contraceptive use and higher rates with teen pregnancy than most modern countries. Research believes these are the following reasons. First one is ignorance. There's a gap in knowledge. Most teens don't have enough knowledge about sex and sexual health. Another reason for teen pregnancy is the minimal communication about birth control. It may be a topic that's very uncomfortable to talk about with parents or partners, and they're unable to access it. They feel guilty. They feel pressure from their peers and significant others. In a recent survey, 72% of sexually active teens between the ages of 12 to 17 years old actually regret having sex but felt pressure to do so. Alcohol use can also be reduces the ability for control and judgment in media. Sex is seen everywhere in the media, and it is the norm. This is from the CDC. I thought was a pretty interesting graph, and it explained how we are actually declining and our trend has gone down in recent years with teen pregnancy. However, we are at the top of the charts in terms of our country having such high rates. Some factors they found that can influence reduce sexual activity in teens. The first one is they found high intelligence. So teens with high IQs scores delay in sexual activity. Religion and teens and adults often reserve sex for marital commitment. So your religion can impact you. Father presence is another one. A father's absence from home can contribute to higher teen sexual activity. And learning programs. Teens who volunteer and tutor in programs dedicated to reducing teen pregnancy are less likely to engage in unsafe sex. The last part we've talked about with development, but I did want to bring it up again for review. We talked about sexual orientation. And sexual orientation refers to a person's preference for emotional and sexual relationship with individuals of the same sex, the other sex, or either sex. So homosexuality can be seen as you have an attraction for somebody with the same sex as you. Heterosexual, you're attracted to somebody of the opposite sex, and bisexual, you may experience some attraction to the same sex or to somebody of a different sex. There is no research. Your book pointed out there's no research and evidence that environmental influences determine your sexual orientation. However, there is support for biological influences on orientation, which includes the presence of same-sex behaviors in many animal species, straight-gay differences in body and brain characteristics, higher rates of homosexual orientation in certain families, and the discovery of a critical period of prenatal development, which can expose to certain hormones, which can impact orientation. And we've talked a lot about the biological influences when we were in the development unit, but I did want to bring it up.